right? As I promised, I kept putting away this topic, but I guess it's time to address it, right? I've been asked a few questions about fasting, so today will just be kind of an overview of one type of fasting. I'm not going into all types. There are so many that you can do, but I just want to kind of familiarize you with something that can be done pretty much on a daily basis. So, intermittent fasting. How many of you are familiar with this verse, with this topic, intermittent fasting? Okay, so quite a few. Well, I always like to look to see what the experts have to say about this. So, there is this Dr. Manpreet Mundy from the Mayo Clinic who gives a very nice kind of simple answer that we all can understand. So intermittent fasting means that you do not eat for a period of time each day. Some popular approaches to intermittent fasting include, so I will just name 3 of them and we'll focus on one. Alternate day fasting, eat a normal diet one day and either completely fast or have a small meal with less than 500 calories the next day. Then there is also the 5 and 2, 5 days you eat normal diet and then 2 days a week you decide to fast. And then the one that it's been kind of quite popular lately, and for us, Seventh-day Adventists, is not that kind of new. We've known about this for over 100 years ago, but now it looks like a lot of the scientists, doctors are coming up with all these benefits and are actually encouraging us to try it. So it's the daily time-restricted fasting. So you eat normally, but only within an 8-hour window each day. So this is kind of a type of fasting that I prefer the most because every day you can eat something and you just restrain for some other hours. So I will be more specific on that. Are you familiar with this saying that's eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a... What do they have? What poor people have usually for supper? Sometimes nothing, right? so that's why it's like, that's a good illustration. Now, this is not like a one-size-fits-all. This is just a suggested example of how you can do this if you want to try it. So you have breakfast between 7 and 8, lunch between 1 and 2, and then for the rest of the day until next breakfast, you can just fast with water and herbal teas. As I said, this is just a suggested plan. That's the one I practice the most, and it works very well for me. Benefits. Again, we'll let the experts say, are there any benefits of doing this kind of fast? So there seem to be quite a lot of benefits. I don't have time to go into all of them, but some of them, like losing weight, being physically active, help lower your risk of obesity-related diseases such as diabetes, sleep apnea, some types of cancer. Also for those diseases, intermittent fasting seems to be about as beneficial as any other type of diet that reduces overall calories. Then also, some research suggests that intermittent fasting may be more beneficial than other diets for reducing inflammation and improving conditions associated with inflammation such as Alzheimer's, arthritis, asthma, multiple sclerosis, and stroke. I think this is pretty significant. Now, there is also other benefits, the production of the growth hormones from the pituitary gland. Growth hormone improves protein synthesis in the brain, muscle, bone, skin, and pretty much all cells. Is that important? I think it's very important because if we don't have the great growth hormone working properly, if all these glands are not, and brain and muscle are not getting their necessary needs, I don't think how we can function. Now, I really like this one. It says that a short fast helps to reset the circadian rhythm. We talked about circadian rhythm in previous health nuggets, and it's so interesting that after a consumption of a high-fat diet, it's so recommended to have a fast so that your body can reset because, when we eat high-fat diets, usually our bodies do suffer a little bit. So fasting, if done wisely, improves the ability of cells to respond to insulin, improving the efficiency of the power plant of the cell, the mitochondria, and reduces the free radical damage and inflammation. Fasting also increases the activity of certain genes that help cope with stress and slows down aging. You know, there is so much out there about how to slow down aging, but this is proven to really work, because when we fast, our body regenerates. But if we do not take any time to give a little break, I don't know how we can regenerate. Like with everything, we are like a machinery. Every machinery needs a break now and then. And if we do not have a schedule, it's so important to have a schedule, to have a rhythm, because our bodies, that's how function the most. And it's something that definitely will feel it. If we go against this rhythm, we'll feel it. And as you know, I work in an environment where basically I make my living because people tend to go against the rhythm, and our ERs are pretty much full every day. So another good advice, 2, 3, or 4 days of consecutive fasting improves immune system regeneration, shifting stem cells from a dormant state to a state of self-renewal. And if those of you who were here in the morning, we talked about the fast that some of the people had to do during Jesus' time because their food ran out. And it's interesting because they always recommend no more than 3 days of fasting to do if you are not supervised by a healthcare provider. So fasting has been practiced. The reason I even picked the design of the PowerPoint to show it's something that's been around for quite a long time. It's nothing new. It's now, the benefits seem to be newer to most people because they have not been exposed to a lot of the benefits of fasting. Now, there is some other researchers at the Intermountain Heart Institute in Utah. They observed that after 10 to 12 hours of fasting, the body starts scavenging for other sources of energy throughout the body to sustain itself. So the body pulls the bad cholesterol, the LDL, from the fat cells and uses as energy. How lovely is that, right? So again, just for those of you who are not used to have a schedule, the first step would be set a schedule for your meals. And if you have, because I know I grew up in a family that we had 1 meal a day, start in the morning, finish in the evening. That was the tradition, and some of my family members still continue on that. But one of the fasting that you can start doing is eat your breakfast, let that body rest for maybe 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, up to 6 hours is the ideal number, and between these hours, just drink water on herbal teas. And then again, have your lunch, and then again, give a break. So try first, if you are not used to fast, just between meals. Don't snack anything between meals. And I promise you, your energy levels will increase, and your mind will get clearer, and you will have many benefits from doing this. And I will just give you a very short kind of a praise report. I have some friends who are working in Thailand with about 28 children, and 3 of the children are their own, and the 25 are not, are Thai kids that they are taking care of. So when they got them in their home, they got them on a schedule. Now, lately, they cut their sugars, and they decided not to give them to eat anything with sugar, and of course, they serve a plant-based meal. So the teachers from school, those kids who go to school, the teachers went to the children and asked, what are they doing to you? The kids are so smart, they have very good grades, and their energy levels, the teachers are so surprised, like, you are not getting as tired as the other kids. Your energy levels are so high, and it's just such a contrast. Imagine, and then when they came and told their adopted parents, and then the parents said, so what did you tell them? What are we doing with you? Why are you like this? They said, well, they don't give us meat, and they don't give us sugar, and they do. It was kind of interesting to see how those that work with these children are observing the difference, and they are seeing that there is something different. So again, once we put in practice some of the advice that God has given us, we will only have benefits. Now, are there any side effects? Of course, as with everything, we should expect some discomfort, hunger, fatigue, insomnia, nausea, headaches, but these are I would say more hunger and fatigue for the first they say it takes about a month I did not find that to be a month. For me, it was short at the time, but it's worth trying. It's not something that's life-threatening if you do it wisely. Now, again, is it safe? It's safe for pretty much most people, but it's not for everyone. I always say, if you're under 18, no, don't try to fast. Pregnant, breastfeeding ladies, no. And those people who have like a health condition, it doesn't say they cannot do it. It says if you have kidney stones, like GERD, the acid reflux, diabetes, or other medical problems, talk with your doctor before starting it. So it's not impossible. Just make sure you are in touch with your primary care provider, because that's always helpful. So everyone can try to do at least one type of fast. Fasting between meals, I think, is pretty much for everyone. And we'll see what a blessing, and then we'll have more testimonies to share. Now, this is something from the inspired writings of Ellen White. This was written over 100 years ago, and it says that in most cases, 2 meals a day are preferable to 3. Again, in most cases, it doesn't say for everyone. Supper, when taken at an early hour, interferes with the digestion of the previous meal. When taken later, it is not itself digested before bedtime. Thus, the stomach fails of securing proper rest. The sleep is disturbed, the brain and nerves are wearied, the appetite for breakfast is impaired, the whole system is unrefreshed and is unready for the day's duties. This cannot be truer today. It's so amazing, because just putting in practice, just switching some things around. It doesn't say don't eat, just eat, but eat at the right time, and you will see so much improvement. So may the Lord help us to put in practice what we know is good for us, so that God can bless us even more abundantly.